On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Qualifying's coming up this weekend. Got some Fast Friday. Got quals this weekend. The greatest spectacle in racing coming up a week from Sunday. And from A.J Foyt Racing, you know this name. He's become synonymous with names that you have go-to around here in the past couple of years. Ray Robb, who joins us now. Ray Robb, how are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Do I just call you Sting or Ray or Rob or any of the three? Are you cool with all of it?
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you, but Stingray is my first name, so that's what I get most often.
Yeah, nobody ever just goes short call. I guess Sting, there's already kind of a Sting out there.
Yeah, there's only one Stingray right now.
I'm assuming, is that true? There's only one, you're the only person anywhere with the legal name Stingray?
It's the only one I've heard of. I've heard of guys actually thinking about naming their kids coming up after me. So I don't know if it's after me or after the car or what, but, I mean, it's a good name. Worked out well for me.
I'm glad. I could have been named like Chevy S10 Durango package or something like that. I'm glad that didn't happen for me too. But clearly, when you grew up, your parents were tremendous, or when you were born, your parents were tremendous car aficionados, correct?
They were. They were not marine biologists, despite what many people think Idaho has around it. Idaho is not known for its aquatic life, but yeah. So I grew up around cool, old, fast cars, going to drag races, autocross events. I actually took my first steps at a Corvette Club meeting when I was a kid. So I was bound to be somewhere in motorsports, whether that was behind the windscreen or out turning wrenches.
So what the hell kind of car seat goes in a vet? Did you have one?
I don't think I ever did. I used to ride around in the SCCA events in the passenger seat, just regular old, buckled up, ready to go, holding on for dear life.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Ray Robb is with us of A.J Foyt Racing, and I know this is the first year for you there. What's it feel like to be a part of that iconic name? Not just with IndyCar, but just the iconic name of A.J Foyt. It's
so cool. I mean, it's one of those things you don't realize the impact that one person can have on a community until you're kind of living on the backside of it. And I get to see AJ's impact, not just on motorsports, but on this whole community here in Indianapolis. I mean, you walk around anywhere in town and everyone's like, oh, yeah, I was a big fan of AJ growing up and got to watch him win his third and his fourth or whatever else it may be. And it's just really cool to see kind of the legacy that one can leave behind, but also just to be a part of it now and kind of be a part of the growth season that they're in. I think there's a lot of change going on behind the scenes that people don't get to see, but it's all for the better, and we still get to enjoy the history part of it and having AJ at the track and with Larry running the team. It's a good program.
How'd that go when you got that first call of interest? And I'm assuming it was probably Larry, but how did that go?
Man, I don't even know how it all worked out, but my manager, he was actually the one that got into contact with him first. When I heard it was going to be an opportunity, I was like, yeah, let's do it, because it was either change my name to Civic or something if I was going to stay in Honda, or make the move over to Chevy and keep the name I currently have. So we had to do something.
I mentioned a little bit earlier you could have gone a year ago, because a year ago you were at Darrell Coyne, correct? And you were in a Honda. Had a Honda engine,
correct.
Right? So you could have gone with Prelude Rob.
Could have. That would have been a choice.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing how that works out. So they get you the call. I'll tell you what, we'll double back to a year ago. I know different engine manufacturer, different team, but how did it feel a year ago just getting your feet wet when it comes to the Indy 500? You've been in supporting series, there's no doubt, for IndyCar, but what did it feel like a year ago to finally get your feet wet around here in the month of May?
Man, this place is intimidating when you do it for the first time. Tell you what, doing over 220 miles an hour is not for the faint of heart, but they kind of do it nicely. They treat you like the frog in boiling water and slowly turn the temp on you so that you don't jump out of the pot there. But it's good. I mean, it's a really cool place to be a part of. And, as a rookie last year, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And the only way to learn is to get into it. So it was a crazy month. There was a lot of lessons learned, and I'm looking forward to this year. I think we're going to have a good package, and, with my expectations being based off of what I know now from last season, and also what the team's capable of doing, I think it's going to be good.
Is Stingray Robb, who joins us from A.J Foyt Racing. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Qualifying coming up this weekend. Greatest spectacle. A week from Sunday with your 3-station coverage going on here with the Fan and WIBC. Should be an absolute blast coming up on Race Day Sunday with me and Tony Katz. I'm curious. You guys, when you race, you drive that fast, you do this for a living. You simply put, you have nerves that just aren't like everybody else. But I'm curious, a year ago, when you were ready to start the race and when you fired off and the grid started around the track and you were trailing the pace car, what did that feel like? What were your nerves like then?
Oh, man, it was unbelievable. It's one of those things, though, I will say ignorance is bliss. So I'll probably be a bit more nervous this year, knowing what I know now compared to last year. But it was such a cool experience because you can actually hear the fans on those parade laps before the race starts. So this is a unique event just because there's 300,000 live in attendance fans that show up on race day, and you feel like you're in the greatest spectacle of racing because you are. I mean, it really is, and it's such a cool event.
When the pace car pulls off and you guys fire it up, and I've always heard this from other drivers as well. I don't want to get your perspective. So when you qualify, there may be a couple of people in the stands watching that going into turn number 1, and you look like you have, certainly without other cars on the track with you, all this space. What does it feel like going into turn 1 at that moment when I can't imagine how absolutely tight all of that seems going into turn 1 like that for the first time?
Oh, yeah. No, it gets tight. But it actually feels tighter on race day, which is interesting because we're actually doing slower speeds than we do during qualifying. But I think what it is more than anything is that because the stadium fills up so much, that stand feels so much closer to the track, so it makes the turn 1 look narrower. So even though you're doing 10, 20 mile an hour less into turn 1, it feels like the track is 10 feet narrower than it would be on qualifying day.
Stingray Robb is with us. What'd you learn from a year ago? What'd you pick up with a year under your belt and some maturation going into beginning qualifying coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I think I was a bit ambitious last year at different times and was not willing to be patient. And so, I mean, this is a long 2 weeks that we have coming up here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway because it's not just about qualifying day and it's not just about the race day. It's all the preparation that's going on behind the scenes. So I learned that I need to be more intentional preparing and also just understanding what I need from the car in order to go fast. I think people underestimate what you have to understand from an engineering perspective as a driver to be able to relate that to what engineers can give you. And so there's a lot that I learned technically last year on the track side. And then on the track, I mean, the racing is just a different world. When you're doing that kind of speed, the closing rates are more, the draft is bigger, and it's just a bigger, higher risk event with 32 other cars out there. It's crazy, but it's something that is unbelievable to experience.
He is Stingray Robb with us, too. You're a hammer down guy. You're all hammer down guys. Everybody that participates a hammer down driver. Tell me how you develop patience. Does patience just come with repetition and experience? Is that truly the only way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think experience is a big part of this. There's a book out there called Outliers, and I like to quote it often because it's a very good principle, but you got to spend 10,000 hours doing whatever it is that you want to be great at in order to become great at it. And so part of becoming a great race car driver is spending time in the seat, learning what you need to learn, and letting the lessons come to you rather than forcing an issue that's not already there.
How many hours have you spent with the career of your choice here?
Not near enough yet. I'll tell you that much right now. But I probably have close to about 7,000 hours in a go-kart, and I'm nowhere near my 10,000 hours in the car yet, but we're working on it. Might take a few years here.
So Stingray Robb with us. Growing up in Idaho, I always ask this. I know you probably get tired of it too, right? But does all of Idaho kind of look like the scenes from Napoleon Dynamite, or is that just a coincidence there?
Yep. It's just desert land. There's nothing to look at. Don't ever come. It's a terrible place. No, Idaho is gorgeous. I miss it all the time because Indianapolis is my home now.
Right.
And I miss the mountains. I miss the forests, the trees. The beautiful thing about Idaho is that you can drive 2 hours in any direction from the city of Boise and get completely different environments. So if you want to go boating for the day, you go 2 hours one way or 30 minutes one way even. If you want to go to the desert, you go the other direction. If you want to go to the mountains, you go the other direction. I mean, we got it all in Idaho. So that's why so many people have been moving in the last few years. But we always tell people Napoleon Dynamite is exactly how it is. You want to live in Idaho? Just watch the movie. Don't be encouraged to come here. There's nothing good about it.
That awful. This is just what we do, man. We equate. Wow, that's what I saw there, and that's exactly how it is. So
yeah. Get your own tot.
I believe that's. Was it Preston, Idaho, with Napoleon Dynamite? That's a real place too, right?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. Ray Robb is with us. How good of a basketball player were you growing up?
Man, I always tell people I was starting point guard, but when I'm starting point guard, there's something seriously wrong because I was not good enough to play that role. So I was decent, depending on the day. Racing was the goal 90% of the time, so I'd show up for a basketball game after being gone for 2 weeks and step onto the court and forget if I shot with my left or my right hand sometimes, but it was fun.
Were you a better decision maker at that age as a driver, a racer, or a point guard?
Oh, I'd probably say a driver, for sure.
How's Idaho high school basketball?
I mean, depending on where you're at, it's pretty good. I mean, I like to go to the state games every once in a while just to watch and enjoy the competition. It's probably nowhere close to Indiana basketball. Kind of seems to be the breath of life out here, but Idaho's pretty good. We got some good ballers.
Are you allowing yourself? Have you become a Pacers fan since now you're here? You have to, right?
I have. Slowly but surely, they've won me over. I've actually even been to a few Butler games. Hopefully, I'm going to go to some IU games this fall. Maybe even a Purdue game here or there. We'll see how things go. But, yeah, I like the sports that we got out here.
Ed Carpenter, by the way, one of the owner and driver as well, is a Butler guy. I'm assuming you knew that, correct?
I actually didn't know that, but that's good to know. I'll often talk to him.
Didn't know where that dude can play a lick of basketball, though. Tell him that sometime. Say, hey, I was on a radio show here locally, and the host said you can't play a lick of basketball. There's no way he could. None.
I'll just pass him a basketball one time and see what he does with it. Usually can figure it out pretty quick.
Ray Robb on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He's going year number 1 with A.J Foyt Racing, qualifying. Year number 2 in all for him. Qualifying is coming up this weekend, Fast Friday, of course, on Friday. And Ray Robb on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. It has been a pleasure talking with you. Keep that momentum going, but again, stay patient as possible, and we'll see you coming up this weekend and then on race day for the greatest spectacle. Have a blast.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.